Hi everyone, and welcome to Beautysbestadvisors. Today I'm here with Amy. Amy is a registered nurse, advanced nurse injector here at facesMD. So today, Amy and we're going to go through the process of Botox, and we're going to aim a little more specifically towards men. So Amy, tell me, what is your male clientele like? Do you have a lot?
I would say throughout the years it's becoming more and more, whereas before it was more women. More and more men are doing it because I guess they want to prevent, and most often their partners or girlfriends would say, hey, well, since I'm doing this, why don't you get a little bit of Botox too?
And your friends are liking it?
Yeah, a lot of guys come back and say, you know what, these frown lines are not as prominent as they were. They're a lot softer. I don't look as angry. I mean, most recently I had a guy who has a very stressful job, and he does a lot of media coverage. And he said, on media, he always looks angry. So he said, is there anything you can do? So because his lines were already at the point where they were so prominent, I had to incorporate a little bit of filler, derma filler, to plump up those lines, along with Botox to soften them.
So it's no secret I do my whole forehead, and that anger issue is the biggest thing. I bring my brows together, causing a horrible furrow lines here. Now, in the past, I have had that filled because I waited, and Amy has done my Botox, and I don't know if you can see, but nice and smooth, everything's great. So today we're going to do Phoenix's Botox for his brow line, I guess it's called, to smooth him out. I know when I tell people I have Botox in my forehead, one of the first things they say to me is, oh, when I get wrinkles, I'm going to go for Botox. Mm-hmm. Now, I know from my personal experience, huge mistake. Phoenix is not making that mistake. Obviously, he's coming in and he's getting it done.
Proactive, yeah.
When do you say people should start with Botox?
That's a very, very good question, actually. Everyone's muscles are very different, and everyone animates differently. So it's really hard to say, well, at this age, you should start coming for Botox. I generally say if you find that you're very animated, you make a lot of facial expressions, your job causes you to stare at the computer screen a lot, you frown a lot, you furrow a lot, then maybe that's something you want to do. Become a little bit proactive and start Botox a little bit earlier. I have some girls that come see me, they're in their early 20s and they already have decreases along their forehead. A lot of them are sun worshippers, and that is a big impact on the wrinkles. So I would say, you know what, maybe come a little bit earlier before you see those lines getting worse and worse. Just a couple units here and there, once or twice every year, just to prevent them from getting worse.
So basically, like in the beauty industry, it's not about your age. You don't go by age, you go by your concern. Mm-hmm. So if you're 21 and your concern is, my lines are already deep, I can see what my parents look like, it's going to get worse, I want to stop it, then that's when you come in.
Exactly.
There's a lot of misconceptions as to, I've had people tell me, my friend had Botox in her cheek and it's pulling and horrible things are happening. How often does that really happen?
I mean, droops can happen. It's something that's very, very rare. Most often it's contributed to how many units are put into that area. If a lot of units were put into your forehead, causing it to be very heavy, and you're the type of person that expresses a lot with your eyebrows, it's going to feel droopy, whereas it really isn't. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and when you go to an advanced injector and she knows exactly what you want and you have an assessment with them, they're more often able to tell you exactly what is going to happen and your likelihood of drooping.
What makes someone a good injector? What do you look for when you go, you choose a clinic, you're like, okay, I'm going to go here. Obviously, word of mouth is important, but how do you know that that person is good at what they're doing?
Well, there's a couple of things you want to look for. Number one, you want to know that the nurse is listening to your needs. I mean, most often people think, well, I'm going to get Botox and my whole face is going to be frozen. That's actually a misconception. I mean, you can really soften the lines and reduce the wrinkles, yet have mobility and not freeze the area. So definitely, have the nurse listen to what you want, express what you want. I always say to myself that, injecting is an art form. You definitely want to have that artistic eye to see what would look good on you.
It's true, and you need to know, if I put something here, this is what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And the side effect, because I learned also the side effect of reducing one and not doing the other, things move differently than what you think
Exactly.
will happen.
You want to create a balance and not overdo things. And some people, you know, with the brows, Botox can shape brows. Some people want a higher brow, some people want a lower brow. So also, you know, express what you want with the nurse in regards to your brows, because that's very important.
Definitely. Perfect. So hopefully you all got some great advice here at facesMD with Amy. So now we're going to head on upstairs and we're going to take care of Phoenix's forehead.
So with Phoenix, as we can see, he has a very heavy set brow. Most often when he is making facial expressions, you see that he likes to raise his eyebrows up while he talks. So because he has a short forehead and heavy brow set, you don't want to add too much Botox. Doing that will cause him to feel very heavy and almost feel droopy. Without actually causing a droop, we have to put the Botox slightly more higher on the frontalis muscle and across, so that he will not be able to raise his eyebrow as high on the lateral aspects, but soften these lines in the middle. So Phoenix, I'm going to get you to put your head back and relax as much as possible. Just wiping with a little bit of alcohol right now. So I'm going to get you to raise your eyebrow as high as possible and relax. Perfect. Tiny little poke just right over here. 1, 2, and 3. Breathe. Perfect. Raise your eyebrow again and relax as much as possible. Tiny little poke right over here. Raise again as much as possible and relax. Perfect. Another little poke right here. Turn a little bit towards me. Perfect. Raise your eyebrows as much as possible and relax. Little poke right here. And raise again and relax. Little poke right over here. And raise again. Turn a little bit more towards me and relax. Little poke right here.
Amy, one of the things we forgot to talk about is how long does it take for the Botox to actually work?
So everyone's muscle works very differently. You know, we usually say give 5-6 days before you see subtle effects, and the full effect is in 2 weeks. Anytime after the 2-week mark, you can always add a little bit more. But having said that, generally for the first time I see somebody, I like to be a little bit more conservative. I like to go a little bit less, have the client get a sense of what Botox feels like. And then after that 2-week mark, if they want more softening, they can always add more. If they don't like what they got initially, then they're gonna have to live with it for 4 to 6 months. So for the best results, I would definitely say, you know, do a little bit less for your first treatment and then just touch up after the 2 weeks. And that's it, Phoenix. So for today, just no gym, no lying down for 3 hours, and no rubbing the areas.
All right.
And then I'll see you again in 2 weeks for a quick follow-up.
Perfect.
Wrinkle your forehead so one can see the before. There we go. Unwrinkle. Wrinkle again. Really hard. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Amy.
No problem.
Bye.
Thank you.